Okay, it's been a busy, really it's just been a busy couple of weeks for us actually. We just got back in from London yesterday, spent a week, about 8 days in London, working primarily with New Frontier churches, although there were some Baptist and some Covenant Life churches. And anyway, it was a good week, and I think God did some tremendous things. So flew back in, really hit a sweet window because they had shut down Heathrow the night before our flight, opened it back up at about 7 a.m. that morning. We got to fly out, and then they shut it back down because of the ash. And so we ended up hitting that small window just right and getting back home. And then today's been it's been a long day. We were a little bit jet lagged, so we were up pretty early. We didn't need the alarm to get up, and then I had to do a MRI with perfusion, which just means that they push a lot of the contrast through you and then watch how it goes in and out of your brain and kind of tracks blood. Basically, where there's cancerous activity, there's a high amount of blood feeding the cancerous cells. And so they were looking for around that cloud that I mentioned 2 months ago when we were talking about the MRI, to see if there was a lot of blood flow around that. If there was a lot of red, a lot of blood flow, it shows up in the scan that she prints out for me in red and yellow. If there was a lot of blood flow around that cloud, that was going to be very bad news. And if there was no blood flow around that, that was really good news. So we did the scan this morning, headed and had lunch with Michael Bleeker and Josh Patterson, who are dear friends of mine, along with Lauren. And then we headed in to see Dr. Fink. This is just a kind of a cool story for free. At the base of Barnett Tower, there's 4 elevators that are horrible. It's always just kind of jam-packed. It's like these 2 hallways kind of narrow into this little place where the elevators are, and so there's a ton of traffic. And a guy came up to me and just thanked me for the updates. He had actually just come down from the same doctor I was going up to see, except he had received really bad news today. And so I got a chance to hug him and pray with him, and then he prayed with me, and then we headed upstairs. And this is a long way to say that the cloud had continued to shrink significantly, and there was no blood flow around the cloud, which basically means that little bit of discolorization in the MRI is swelling or scar tissue from radiation. And so they're not guessing at that anymore. They're pretty convinced of that. And so we'll just continue to watch it. I start another round of chemo this Sunday night, and so I will preach and then go home and start a round of chemo. And we'll be on chemo this week. And then we have another MRI scheduled in July, so that'll be the next time we do an MRI. So that was the news we found out today. It was very good news. All the doctors involved were very pleased by the results. We're very pleased by the results. And so I wish there was, and this is in God's hands, and there's this part of me that wishes there was this moment where they could step and go, it's a miracle, or there's no explanation for this, or there's, unfortunately, and then fortunately, because of the type of cancer this is, it could very well be going on at the cellular level, but without blood flow, it can't grow. So they're never going to say you're cured or you're healed or this is miraculous. They're just going to be hopeful and continue to watch it. So I think I've said this before. The only way for us to know that God's already done a miracle is for me to live to be 60, 70, 80 years old. And so that's the hope and the plan. And so thank you for your prayers. We continue to covet them and enjoy them, and going into this next round of chemo. She was wanting, because the last one beat me up so bad, she was wanting to back me off that amount, that 440 milligrams, but just looked at the chart again, and they can't do that. They've got to keep, like I said, they feel they're way ahead of this thing, and so they're just trying to crush every bit of it out. So anyway, thank you for your prayers. That's our update for today. Love you guys very much.